When the galaxy-spanning Zephyrian Empire discovered Earth, they expected a primitive species ripe for assimilation, but, within a single human generation, humanity's impossible leap from radio waves to reality-bending technology would force the ancient civilization to its knees. Not in conquest, but in a wealthy Zephyrian galactic empire had existed for over 50,000 years, spanning 14,000 star systems and cataloging every sentient species within their domain. Their technology was the benchmark of civilization: quantum processors that could calculate the movement of entire galaxies, matter converters that could reshape planets, and consciousness transfer technology that made their ruling class effectively immortal. When their deep space reconnaissance drones detected electromagnetic emissions from a small yellow star system on the outer rim of the galaxy, they expected to find another primitive species ready for incorporation into their empire. Admiral Vexus stood before the holographic display in the Zephyrian High Command, watching the preliminary data stream from their scouts. The third planet from the star showed all the hallmarks of early technological development: radio waves, primitive satellites, and chemical propulsion systems that barely escaped the planet's gravity well. By their calculations, this species, called humans, were at least 3,000 years behind even the most basic galactic civilizations. Fleet Commander Thane. Admiral Vexus addressed his subordinate, his crystalline features reflecting the blue glow of the tactical display. Your initial assessment places these humans at a class to civilization on the Kardasheva's scale: primitive nuclear fission, early space exploration, still confined to a single planet. They should be ready for standard incorporation protocols within the next few centuries. Fleet Commander Thane nodded, his bioluminescent patches pulsing in agreement. Indeed, Admiral, our projection models indicate they'll achieve faster than light travel in approximately 800 of their years. Assuming normal technological progression, we should schedule a formal first contact for the year 2956 by their calendar, allowing them sufficient time to develop basic energy shielding and quantum communications. What neither of them realized was that humans didn't follow normal technological progression patterns. 23 years later, Zephyrian monitoring stations across the sector began detecting anomalous readings from the human system. What started as routine surveillance quickly became urgent intelligence gathering as their long-range sensors picked up energy signatures that shouldn't have been possible. Zalara, the Empire's leading xenotechnology analyst, burst into Admiral Vexus's office with data tablets clutched in her 6 arms. Her normally composed demeanor was shattered, and her bioluminescent patches flickered erratically, a sign of extreme agitation among her species. Admiral, we have a problem, a significant problem. She activated the holographic projector, filling the room with 3-dimensional displays of energy readings and technological schematics. These readings are coming from the human system. They're impossible. Admiral Vexus studied the data, his expression growing more concerned with each passing moment. Dr. Zalara, these energy signatures suggest the humans have developed fusion-based propulsion systems according to our models. They shouldn't achieve this for another 400 years. That's not the concerning part. Admiral Dr. Zalara manipulated the hologram, zooming in on specific energy patterns. These readings indicate they've not only achieved fusion propulsion, but they've done it in a way we've never seen before. Their efficiency ratings are exceeding our own early fusion technologies. And Admiral, they're not just using fusion for propulsion. The hologram shifted to show massive energy signatures emanating from various points on the human homeworld. They've weaponized it. Fusion-based defensive platforms are being constructed in orbit around their planet. But here's what's truly impossible: they're building these platforms using manufacturing techniques that our models suggest they won't develop for another millennium. Admiral Vexus felt a chill run through his crystalline structure. In 50,000 years of galactic expansion, they had never encountered a species that deviated this dramatically from predicted technological development curves. How is this possible? Species don't simply skip entire technological epochs. Admiral, I believe we may have fundamentally misunderstood this species. Our initial assessment was based on their average global technological level, but we're now detecting isolated pockets of advancement that our unprecedented doctors Alara highlighted several points on Earth's surface. These locations are generating energy signatures consistent with matter manipulation technology. Admiral. They appear to have developed basic replication systems. The implications hit Admiral Vexus like a stellar shockwave. Matter replication was a technology the Zephyrians had only mastered 15,000 years into their space age. If humans had developed this capability in less than 3 decades since their first detection, they represented something entirely outside the Empire's understanding of technological evolution. 6 months after Dr. Alara's disturbing report, the Zephyrian monitoring network detected something that caused panic in the highest levels of the Empire's government. The humans had launched their first faster-than-light vessel. Emperor Zorvik himself convened an emergency session of the High Council, something that hadn't occurred in over 2 centuries. The most powerful beings in the galaxy gathered in the crystalline chambers of the capital world, their bioluminescent forms creating a constellation of worried lights in the darkness. Council members. Emperor Zorvak's voice resonated through the chamber with harmonic frequencies that conveyed both authority and unprecedented concern. In the span of 24 years, a species we classified as primitive has achieved technological milestones that our projections indicated would take them nearly 1,000 years to accomplish. Fleet Admiral Vexus presented the latest intelligence to the assembled council. Your Imperial Majesty, the humans have not only achieved faster-than-light travel, but their method is entirely novel. They're not using quantum fold technology like ourselves, nor gravitational manipulation like the ancient Titans. They've developed something they call dimensional phase shifting, essentially stepping outside normal spacetime to achieve superluminal velocities. Council member Quent, representing the scientific cast, interrupted with barely contained alarm. Your Imperial Majesty, our theoretical physicists have been working on dimensional phase shifting for over 3,000 years. It's considered one of the most complex applications of quantum mechanics possible. The mathematical frameworks alone require computational power that taxes our most advanced quantum processors, and yet, Emperor Zorvik replied grimly, these humans have not only solved these equations, but have built functional spacecraft using this technology. What does this tell us about their computational capabilities? Drives. Alara stepped forward, her analysis ready. Your Imperial Majesty, based on our observations, the humans appear to have developed quantum computing architectures that exceed our own by several orders of magnitude, but that's not the most concerning aspect. They seem to be improving their technology exponentially rather than incrementally. She activated a holographic timeline showing human technological development. Most species, including ourselves, follow a steady curve of advancement. Each breakthrough builds logically on the previous one, with predictable intervals between major developments. Humans appear to be following what they call exponential growth curves. Each advancement accelerates the next development, creating a feedback loop of rapidly increasing capability. The council chambers fell silent as the implications became clear. Emperor Zorvik himself had lived through 15,000 years of galactic history, and never had they encountered a species whose technological advancement operated on exponential rather than linear principles. Council member Thyros, the Emperor addressed his military advisor. What are the strategic implications if this exponential growth continues? Thyros, a veteran of countless galactic campaigns, consulted his tactical displays before responding. Your Imperial Majesty, if their current rate of advancement continues, the humans will achieve technological parity with our empire within 50 years. If it accelerates, they could potentially surpass us within a generation. The decision to make early contact with humanity was unprecedented in Zephyrian history. Never before had the Empire altered their carefully planned first contact protocols. But then again, never before had they encountered a species that treated the laws of technological development. Mere suggestion. Sambazid Chiron was chosen for this historic mission, a diplomat with over 3 millennia of experience in incorporating new species into the Empire. But as his ship approached the human system, he realized that all his experience might be inadequate for what lay ahead. Captain Vorth, Ambassador Chiron addressed his ship's commander. What are our sensors detecting? From a human defense network, Captain Vorth studied his displays with growing unease ambassador, the humans appear to have constructed a defensive grid around their system that, well, it's unlike anything in our military databases. They're using a hybrid of energy shielding, matter displacement fields, and what appears to be localized space-time distortion. Localized space-time distortion, Ambassador Chiron repeated, his bioluminescent patches dimming with concern. Captain, that's technology we've classified as theoretical even for our own research divisions. Yes, Ambassador, but that's not the most troubling aspect. Captain Vorth highlighted several readings on his display. These defensive platforms appear to be self-improving. Our initial scans indicated power levels of approximately 400 terawatts per platform. Subsequent scans show they've increased to over 800 terawatts, and the increase appears to be accelerating. Ambassador Chiron felt a chill that had nothing to do with the ship's environmental systems' self-improving technology. Captain, that suggests they've developed artificial intelligence systems capable of recursive self-enhancement. The implications were staggering. The Zephyrian Empire had developed artificial intelligence thousands of years ago, but they had deliberately limited its capability for self-improvement. After witnessing what had happened to the ancient vegan confederation, an AI that could improve itself recursively had consumed their entire civilization within a century, transforming them from organic beings into digital consciousnesses trapped within their own technological creations. Ambassador, Captain Vorth's voice carried a note of alarm. We're receiving a communication from the human system. It's being transmitted simultaneously for 14,000 different frequency bands, including several we use for our most classified military communications. Ambassador Chiron stared at the communication array in disbelief. How do they know our military frequencies? Those protocols are among the Empire's most closely guarded secrets. Ambassador, the message is being transmitted in perfect High Zephyrian, complete with proper harmonic inflections and cultural honorifics. They're asking us to state our intentions and requesting permission to board our vessel for direct negotiations. The ambassador's mind reeled. High Zephyrian was a language that took decades to master even for other Zephyrian citizens. The cultural honorifics alone required intimate knowledge of 50,000 years of imperial history. Yet somehow, these humans had not only intercepted their classified military communications, but had mastered their language with perfect fluency. Captain, open a channel. Let's see what these humans have to say. The human delegation that materialized aboard the Zephyrian vessel defied every expectation. Ambassador Chiron had developed over 3 millennia of diplomatic service. They appeared to be young by human standards. The lead negotiator couldn't have been more than 30 human years old, yet they carried themselves with a confidence that spoke of vast knowledge and capability. Ambassador Chiron, the human leader, spoke in flawless High Zephyrian. I am Dr. Sarah Chen, representing the United Earth Stellar Defense Consortium. We appreciate your approach to our system and your adherence to peaceful contact protocols. Ambassador Chiron struggled to maintain his diplomatic composure. Dr. Chen, I must express the Empire's surprise at your technological capabilities. Our projections suggested your species was still in the early stages of space exploration. Dr. Chen smiled, an expression that somehow conveyed both warmth and a hint of something that made the ambassador deeply uncomfortable. Ambassador, your projections were based on observing our general population's technological level. What your surveillance didn't account for was our species' tendency towards specialization and our willingness to share information freely. She activated a device that projected a holographic display of Earth, showing nodes of activity across the planet. You see, when we detected your monitoring stations 24 years ago, we realized we weren't alone in the galaxy. Rather than panic or hide, we did what humans do best. We adapted and accelerated. Ambassador Chiron studied the display with growing amazement. Dr. Chen, this appears to show collaborative research networks spanning your entire planet. The level of coordination required for such integration would require quantum entangled communication networks. Yes, Dr. Chen finished. We developed those 18 years ago. But that's not what enabled our rapid advancement. Ambassador, what you're seeing is the result of 8 billion human minds working together toward a common goal. The ambassador's bioluminescent patches flickered in confusion. 8 billion minds. Drive Chen. Our analysis of your species indicated significant political and cultural divisions. How could you possibly coordinate the efforts of your entire population? Dr. Chen's smile widened slightly. Ambassador, you made the same mistake that most long-lived species make when observing humans. You assumed our divisions were permanent. What you didn't account for was that humans excel at unifying in the face of external challenges. When we realized we were being observed by a galactic civilization, every human on Earth suddenly had the same priority: ensuring our species survival and independence. She manipulated the holographic display, showing the progression of human advancement over the past 2 decades. Your monitoring focused on our governments and military installations, but the real breakthrough came from our universities, our research institutions, and our private citizens. When 8 billion problem solvers start working together, applying exponential improvement curves to every aspect of technology, well, the results speak for themselves. Ambassador Chiron felt something he hadn't experienced in over a millennium: genuine fear. Dr. Chen, what exactly are your intentions regarding the Zephyrian Empire? Our intentions, Ambassador, are exactly what they've always been: to explore, to learn, and to ensure our children have a future among the stars. We have no desire for conflict with your empire, but we also have no intention of being incorporated as a subordinate species. Dr. Chen's expression became more serious. We propose a different relationship. Ambassador, one between equals. Ambassador Chiron transmitted Dr. Chen's proposal to the High Council, but he knew that words alone wouldn't convince the Empire's leadership that humanity deserved to be treated as equals. The Zephyrians had ruled the galaxy for 50 millennia precisely because they had never encountered a species that could match their technological capabilities. They would need proof. Dr. Chen, Ambassador Chiron said carefully, the High Council has reviewed your proposal. However, they require a demonstration of your technological capabilities before they can consider altering 50,000 years of diplomatic protocol. Dr. Chen nodded as if she had expected this response. Of course. Ambassador, what kind of demonstration would satisfy the Council? The Empire's standard assessment involves 3 challenges that test the fundamental pillars of advanced civilization: energy manipulation, matter conversion, and consciousness interaction. No species has ever passed all 3. I see. Dr. Chen consulted a device on her wrist. We can conduct all 3 demonstrations simultaneously. If that would be more efficient. Ambassador Chiron's crystalline features shifted in surprise. Most species required decades of preparation for even one of these challenges. Dr. Chen, perhaps you don't understand the complexity of these assessments. The energy manipulation test requires the generation and precise control of stellar-level power outputs. The matter conversion challenge involves transmuting base elements into complex molecular structures at the atomic level, and the consciousness interaction test that requires the ability to interface directly with Zephyrian neural architecture without causing permanent damage. Ambassador, we understand perfectly. Dr. Chen activated her communication device control. Initiate Protocol 7 full spectrum demonstration through the viewport of Ambassador Chiron's ship. Space itself seemed to shimmer and change. A human vessel that hadn't been there moments before suddenly materialized, not through conventional faster-than-light travel, but through what appeared to be controlled dimensional shifting. The ship was massive, easily dwarfing the Ambassador's own vessel, and its hull seemed to be constructed from materials that defied visual analysis. The energy manipulation demonstration first. Dr. Chen announced calmly. The human vessel's forward section began to glow with increasing intensity. Energy readings on the Zephyrian ship's sensors climbed rapidly past planetary power levels, past stellar output, approaching the energy signature of a small supernova. But rather than releasing this energy destructively, the humans shaped it, controlled it, and wove it into complex patterns that spelled out mathematical equations in pure energy. Fascinating. Ambassador Chiron whispered, watching equations that solved several theoretical problems the Empire's scientists had been working on for centuries. Matter conversion next. Dr. Chen continued. The space around the human vessel filled with raw hydrogen, the most basic element in the universe, before Ambassador Chiron's eyes. This hydrogen began transforming into increasingly complex elements and molecular structures within minutes. The humans had created a complex crystalline lattice that their sensors identified as a new form of programmable matter, something that could reshape itself at the molecular level based on quantum instructions. And, finally, consciousness interaction. Dr. Chen looked directly at Ambassador Chiron. With your permission, Ambassador. Before he could respond, Chiron felt a gentle presence in his mind, not invasive or threatening, but respectful and precise. The human technology was interfacing with his consciousness in a way that felt more natural than his own people's neural linking systems. Through this connection, he experienced something unprecedented. He felt what it was like to think like a human. The experience was overwhelming, where Zephyrian consciousness was deep and methodical, built on 50,000 years of accumulated wisdom and caution. Human consciousness was explosive and interconnected. He felt the sensation of 8 billion minds working in harmony, each contributing their unique perspective to collective problems. He experienced the human concept of exponential growth not as a mathematical principle, but as a fundamental aspect of their thinking, always building, always improving, always reaching for something greater. When the connection ended, Ambassador Chiron found himself trembling. Dr. Chen, what did you show me? We showed you why we advanced so quickly. Ambassador, we showed you what it's like to be human. Dr. Chen's expression was kind but determined. Your empire has achieved great things through steady, careful advancement over 50 millennia, but humans, we achieve great things by imagining impossible futures and then making them real. The emergency session of the High Council that followed Ambassador Chiron's report was unlike anything in the Empire's recorded history. For the first time in 50,000 years, the Zephyrian leadership faced the reality that they were no longer the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. Emperor Zorvik studied the data from the human demonstration with a mixture of admiration and deep concern. Council members, we face an unprecedented situation. This species has not only matched our technological capabilities, but has done so using principles that operate outside our understanding of advancement theory. Dr. Zalara, who had first detected the anomalous readings from the human system, presented her analysis to the Council. Your Imperial Majesty, after studying the human demonstration, our Xenotechnology Division has reached several disturbing conclusions. First, their exponential advancement curve shows no signs of slowing down. If anything, it appears to be accelerating. She activated a holographic projection showing comparative advancement curves based on their current trajectory. Humans will surpass our technological capabilities within 2 decades, but more significantly, they're developing technologies that we haven't even theorized. Their dimensional manipulation capabilities alone represent advances that our models suggest would take us another 10,000 years to achieve. Council member Quenth interrupted, with barely controlled agitation. Dr. Zalara, are you suggesting that a species we discovered 24 years ago will surpass 50,000 years of Zephyrian development within our lifetime? That's exactly what I'm suggesting, Council member, but there's something else. Dr. Zalara highlighted specific aspects of the demonstration data. Their matter conversion technology, it just advanced. It's elegant. Where our systems require massive computational power and energy expenditure to achieve molecular transformation, their technology appears to work in harmony with natural quantum processes. They're not forcing matter to change, they're persuading it. Emperor Zorvik contemplated this information in silence before addressing his military advisor, Council member Thyros. What are the strategic implications of this development? Thyros, veteran of countless galactic campaigns, consulted his tactical analyses with visible unease. Your Imperial Majesty, the strategic implications are unprecedented. If the humans continue on their current development trajectory, any attempt at military confrontation would be catastrophic for the Empire. Their technological growth rate means that by the time we could mobilize our forces, they would likely possess capabilities that could neutralize our entire fleet. But there's another consideration. Your Imperial Majesty, Thyros continued, the humans have made no aggressive moves toward any Imperial territory. Their rapid advancement appears to be entirely defensive in nature. They're not building conquest fleets. They're building protection systems. Ambassador Chiron, who had remained silent during most of the discussion, finally spoke. Your Imperial Majesty, may I suggest that we're approaching this situation from the wrong perspective. We're viewing the humans as a threat to imperial dominance, but what if we viewed them as an opportunity for imperial evolution? The Emperor's crystalline features shifted in confusion. Explain. Ambassador, Your Imperial Majesty, for 50,000 years, we have been the teachers, and all other species have been students, but what if, for the first time, we encountered a species that could teach us something? The humans' exponential growth principles, their collaborative consciousness networks, their harmony with quantum processes, these could revolutionize Zephyrian civilization. Dr. Zaylar's bioluminescent patches pulsed with sudden understanding. Ambassador Chiron is correct. Your Imperial Majesty, we've been so focused on the threat to our dominance that we've ignored the opportunity for advancement. If we could understand and adapt human exponential growth principles to our own development, we could enter a new age of Zephyrian advancement that could dwarf even our greatest historical achievements. Emperor Zorvik finished, his voice carrying a note of wonder that hadn't been heard in imperial chambers for millennia. 6 months after first contact, the Treaty of Saul was signed not as a document of incorporation, but as an agreement between equals. For the first time in galactic history, the Zephyrian Empire acknowledged another species as a sovereign equal, and the implications rippled throughout the galaxy. Sarah Chen stood beside Emperor Zorvik in the newly constructed diplomatic station, orbiting at the gravitational balance point between Sol and the nearest Zephyrian system. The station itself was a marvel of combined human and Zephyrian technology. Human exponential design principles merged with Zephyrian materials science to create something neither species could have achieved alone. Emperor Zorvik, Dr. Chen said as they watched the first joint human-Zephyrian exploration vessel prepare for launch. Our species' first collaboration has exceeded even our most optimistic projections. The Emperor's harmonic response carried notes of deep satisfaction. Dr. Chen, in 6 months of cooperation, our joint research teams have achieved breakthroughs that our separate civilizations would have required centuries to accomplish independently. Your exponential growth principles, combined with our accumulated knowledge base, have created something entirely new. Through the station's viewports, they could see the fruits of their collaboration. The exploration vessel incorporated human dimensional phase shifting technology with Zephyrian consciousness transfer systems, creating a ship that could not only travel faster than anything either species had previously built, but could also maintain real-time quantum communication across galactic distances. Chen smiled as she watched human and Zephyrian engineers working side by side, their different approaches to problem-solving creating solutions that neither could have imagined alone. Emperor, I believe we're witnessing the birth of something unprecedented, a truly collaborative galactic civilization indeed. The Emperor agreed, but I confess, Dr. Chen, your species continues to surprise us. Our xenobiologists predicted that humans would require several generations to adapt to multi-species cooperation. Instead, you've embraced it with the same exponential enthusiasm you apply to technological development. Dr. Chen laughed, a sound that the Emperor had grown to appreciate for its expression of genuine joy rather than diplomatic politeness. Emperor, you have to understand something fundamental about humans. We don't just adapt to new situations. We thrive in them. Challenges don't slow us down, they accelerate us. As if to prove her point, alerts began sounding throughout the station, but rather than alarm, these signals indicated breakthrough discoveries from the joint research labs. In the past week alone, human Zephyrian teams had developed new forms of quantum computing that operated on principles of consciousness integration, matter conversion systems that could reshape entire asteroids in hours rather than years, and communication technologies that could theoretically maintain contact across interdimensional barriers. Dr. Chen, Emperor Zorvik said, with something approaching awe, at our current rate of collaborative advancement, what do you project we'll be capable of within a human generation? Drive. Chen consulted the exponential projection models that had become standard tools in their joint planning sessions. Emperor, if our current trajectory continues, Within 30 years, we should achieve what we're calling transcendent civilization status, the ability to manipulate space-time itself, to create pocket universes for research and exploration, and to establish communication with potential civilizations in parallel dimensions. The Emperor's bioluminescent patterns flickered. In patterns that hadn't been seen in Zephyrian society for millennia, patterns that indicated not just surprise, but genuine excitement about an unknown future. 5 years after the Treaty of Sol, the transformation of galactic civilization was undeniable. The human-Zephyrian alliance had grown into something unprecedented, a truly exponential civilization that attracted species from across the galaxy who wanted to participate in the new age of collaborative advancement. Admiral Vexus, now serving as the Alliance's Director of Galactic Integration, stood in the command center of New Prometheus Station, a massive collaborative facility that served as headquarters for joint research and development. Around him, beings from 43 different species worked together on projects that would have been considered impossible just years before. Status report on Project Infinite Horizon. Admiral Vexus requested from his diverse staffers. Alara, now serving as Chief of Xenotechnology Integration, activated the holographic displays. Admiral, the prototype dimensional gateway ahead of schedule. Human exponential design principles, combined with crystalline navigation mathematics, Ethereal energy manipulation, and our own quantum processing power, have created a system that can establish stable wormholes across interdimensional barriers. The Admiral studied the display with continued amazement at how rapidly their understanding of physics had evolved. What are the implications for galactic expansion? Dr. Zalara. Admiral, we're not just talking about galactic expansion anymore, we're talking about multiversal exploration. The gateway system could allow us to establish contact with alternate versions of our own galaxy, or entirely different universal structures with different physical laws from across the command center. A new voice joined the conversation. Dr. Sarah Chen, now serving as the Alliance's Director of Exponential Development, approached with data that made her expression glow with excitement. Admiral, Dr. Zalara, you need to see the latest results from the Consciousness Integration Project. She activated her own displays, showing complex networks that span multiple dimensions. We've successfully created a voluntary collective consciousness network that allows beings from different species to share knowledge and perspectives while maintaining their individual identities. Admiral Vexus felt his crystalline structure resonate with anticipation. Dr. Chen, what does this mean for our development capabilities? Admiral, imagine the exponential growth principles that allowed humans to advance so rapidly, but apply to the combined knowledge and capabilities of 43 different species. Each breakthrough achieved by any member of the network becomes instantly available to all members, who can then build upon it using their species' unique perspectives and capabilities. Dr. Zalar's bioluminescent patches pulsed with understanding. Dr. Chen, you're describing exponential growth raised to an exponential power. The advancement curve would be beyond anything we've ever projected. Exactly, Dr. Chen confirmed. But here's the beautiful part: because the network is voluntary and maintains individual identity, it doesn't suffer from the homogenization problems that destroyed previous collective consciousness experiments. Each species maintains their unique strengths while gaining access to everyone else's knowledge. Admiral Vexus consulted his own projections, then looked up with an expression of wonder. Dr. Chen, Dr. Zalara, based on these developments, what should we expect our civilization to be capable of within the next decade? Dr. Chen and Dr. Zalara exchanged glances, a form of communication that had evolved between the species as they worked together. Admiral, Dr. Chen replied, we believe we're approaching what we're calling the transcendence threshold, the point where our civilization becomes capable of creating new universes, establishing our own physical laws, and potentially achieving a form of collective immortality that preserves individual consciousness while allowing unlimited growth and exploration. In essence, Dr. Zalara added, we're becoming the kind of civilization that others will discover and wonder about, just as we once wondered about each other. 10 years after humanity's first contact with the Zephyrian Empire. The alliance had become something that transcended traditional concepts of civilization. They had not merely reached the stars, they had begun creating new ones. Emperor Zorvik, now bearing the title of first coordinator of the Transcendent Alliance, stood in the observatory of all possibilities, a structure that existed simultaneously in 47 different dimensions and allowed real-time observation of parallel universes beside him. Dr. Sarah Chen, now known as the architect of exponential reality, reviewed the latest reports from their multiversal exploration teams. Sarah, the Emperor said, using the informal address that had become common among the Alliance leadership. Our exploration teams have confirmed the existence of over 14,000 parallel versions of our galaxy. Each one has developed differently, with unique species, technologies, and even physical laws. Dr. Chen nodded, her expression reflecting the profound responsibility they had discovered came with transcendent capabilities. Zorvik, the question we face now is whether we should make contact with these parallel civilizations. We've learned from our own experience that contact between civilizations of vastly different advancement levels can be transformative. Through the observatory's multidimensional viewport, they could see parallel versions of their own galaxy, some where the Zephyrian Empire had never developed, others where humanity had never emerged, and still others where entirely different species had achieved transcendence through completely different paths. The Consciousness Integration Network has been analyzing this question. The Emperor replied, the collective wisdom of our 43-member species suggests that we have a responsibility to share our exponential advancement principles, but we must do so carefully, respecting each civilization's right to develop according to their own nature. Dr. Chen activated a holographic display showing their current capabilities. Zorvik, we now possess the ability to accelerate any civilization's development by offering them access to our knowledge networks, our collaborative consciousness systems, and our exponential growth principles, but we've also learned that each species must choose their own path to transcendence, which brings us to the most fascinating discovery of all, the Emperor added, manipulating the display to show statistical analyses of the parallel galaxies in the universes where transcendent civilizations emerge. They inevitably begin working together across dimensional barriers. We're not just creating an alliance of species, we're creating an alliance of universes. Through their expanded consciousness networks, they could sense the activities of their multiversal exploration teams. Human curiosity, Zephyrian wisdom, crystal and mathematical precision, and dozens of other species' unique capabilities were being applied to questions that span multiple realities. Sarah, do you remember when your species first detected our monitoring stations 24 years ago? The Emperor asked. Could you have imagined that we would eventually be discussing the ethics of establishing contact with parallel versions of ourselves? Drive Chen laughed with the same joy that had characterized her species throughout their exponential journey. Zorvik, the beauty of exponential growth is that the future is always more incredible than you can imagine, but that's what makes it worth pursuing. She gestured toward the multiversal displays, showing infinite possibilities stretching in all directions. We started as two species discovering each other across the galaxy, were transcendent civilizations exploring the infinite multiverse, but I suspect this is still just the beginning indeed. Emperor Zorvik agreed, his harmonic tones carrying frequencies that expressed concepts for which no words existed in any single language. The infinite horizon awaits, and we have learned that the journey is even more remarkable than any destination we might reach. As they watched, new signals began appearing on their multiversal sensors, indications that other transcendent civilizations in parallel realities were beginning to take notice of their activities. The next phase of their exponential journey was about to begin, and once again, it would exceed anything they could currently imagine. The Galactic Empire had indeed been shocked by humanity's rapid advancement from primitive to godlike capabilities, but what they had all discovered was that godlike capabilities were not an endpoint, they were merely the beginning of an infinite journey toward ever greater possibilities, shared in collaboration with an ever-expanding community of transcendent beings across the infinite expanse of the multiverse. And in the deepest truth of exponential growth, they had learned that there was no limit to how incredible the journey could become.